All right, so right now Bitcoin is getting a pretty large dump. We really started dropping today after New York Open, and I was potentially looking for some longs somewhere in this area. Basically, this zone right around the value area high was like the last place I was kind of looking for longs until we get down to the lows of the range. And the reason for that is because this entire move up we, seemingly have been building lots of liquidity on the way up, lots of stop losses. We really haven't seen a liquidity grab. It's just been higher lows. So I figured if we, start to lose the value area high, there's a good chance that price will come down and start to grab that liquidity. And right now we are falling down below the point of control of this range. I'll adjust that, but I don't think it'll change. We are also falling down below the previous day levels. We just lost the previous day value area low. And so right now there are a few places I'm looking for potential support. Number one would be right around the lows of the range, the value area low. We also have an untapped daily and a weekly level right in this area. And this is also a 2-hour order block. You can see right there, this purple candle in between the two blues. Then price, went on an uptrend. This order block is at the lows of the range and it's right around the value area low, so it's in a good spot in my opinion. And that is pretty low, but it might be a 786. We can pull a fib. So yeah, it is. We got the 786, right above the value area low. I might prefer to see a move down towards the untapped daily in the value area low though. After that, we can look at some higher term market structure. But first, I kind of want to mention this little pattern that I'm kind of seeing where we form a range, break to the upside, form another range on top of the old range, break to the upside, and then form a smaller range above that one. That's kind of been a pattern that's been repeating. And at the same time, price is kind of forming an ascending wedge type thing where, it's a little wonky, but, what patterns aren't. So, you could say that we're forming an ascending wedge here, which is a bearish pattern. And if we break out of this, we could potentially see a large retracement here. But right now, Bitcoin is still in an uptrend. We can look at daily structure first. We know what the weekly structure is like with us breaking the last lower high right here, us closing well above it, and so far price is holding above it. So, we have a bullish break of structure on the weekly time frame. And on the daily, we got this kind of internal structure going on where we have higher highs and higher lows. You can ignore this kind of stuff and just say this was a higher high, this was a higher low. And, I guess on the daily, you'd probably be ignoring this stuff too and just say, right now we're forming a higher high. But if you come down more locally on the 4-hour, we, did SFP that low there. So we'll go higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. We actually didn't even take out that high, so never mind, I drew that wrong. It would be higher high, higher low here. Higher high, it was an SFP, but we never came down for the lows. Higher low, and now higher high, higher low. We'll say this was a higher high, and this right here is the last higher low on this 4-hour structure. So if price breaks down below this low, which on the MEXC chart is coming in around 29,620, if we close below that low, we would be breaking this 4-hour uptrend. And again, looking at this local move to the upside, I feel like this would be a pretty easy sweep. We could take this out very quickly if we don't find support at like that 2-hour order block. So I would be very interested in this low right here. I would want to see if we're going to SFP it. Maybe then we can continue this uptrend and just kind of stop out all the longs that are below this low. Or if we're going to close down below this low, then I think it may be a very fast move down towards the highs of this previous range. We do have this area of inefficient price action right here. This was a very fast move to the upside. So if we lose this low, it seems like we could very quickly come back towards the highs of this range, and that is a zone I was watching. If I go back to this chart, I was looking at the value area high and the previous resistance that we had in this range. I don't know where my fixed range went, but we'll pull another one. The value area high is coming in right around there, and I think I have to pull this fib again. So we can go ahead and adjust that fib, and yeah, the golden pocket's still lining up very nicely with the value area high. And I mean, that may not even hold. If we're going to break this 4-hour structure, if we're going to start a 4-hour downtrend, that's something that, I guess we did kind of do that locally over here. With this low, we broke structure, then created a lower high, and technically a lower low, even though it was an SFP. But eventually that turned around and we ended up pumping anyway. Now, zooming back in here, price is actually kind of recovering a little bit. We got back above the point of control. Did we break local structure of any kind? No, we have not. If we come back up above this high, we'll break this 1-minute downtrend. And, is that above the value area high? It looks like it probably is. Yeah, I mean, if we get back above this value area high as well, we'll mark that out and zoom back in to make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Yep, if we can get back above this high now and this value area high, and like close above here and maybe then put in a higher low, that might be a sign that we are reversing. But for right now, I'm not super confident in us getting a bounce from this point of control. I still think there's lots of liquidity below us that we can grab, and I would not be super interested in longs until we get down to the value area low. Now, if we come back up towards this value area high and maybe find a rejection, that might be a sign that we're going to continue down to the value area low. So maybe then I'll look for like some scalp shorts or something. And right now, if I had to, give an opinion on what I think is going to happen, what I think is most likely, I'd say we probably continue ranging here. I think we continue ranging here, trap some more traders kind of in both directions, maybe make things look bearish, maybe then eventually head back up towards the highs of the range, maybe test some of this resistance up here. And if we are going to kind of break bearishly from here, I think it will be after we've kind of ranged it up here for a little bit. Maybe then we see a break downwards. But then again, if we lose this low, we could very quickly start to come back down and fill this inefficient price action. And if we do not hold this previous resistance as support, and we come back down into this range right here, I think there's a good chance that we eventually break down to the next range and, maybe start to fill some of the inefficient price action that we got below us. And, overall, I think that could be bearish. I think, the last chance for the bulls, if we're going to break this 4-hour low, is really holding on top of previous resistance. Maybe we see a move down towards the lows of this range and then eventually kind of work our way back up. It's possible. Maybe we just start trading in a larger range. But overall, I think it would be much better for the bulls if we can now hold this previous resistance as support. So right now, I'm pretty much just looking for scalp plays. If we start getting a move back up towards the value area high, I may look for shorts up in this area. Especially since we kind of broke this local structure here by breaking this last higher low. There's a good chance if we come back up that we will put in a lower high. And yeah, overall, given the higher time frames, daily money flow getting back into the green, even though we are looking like we're going to print a red dot. A lot of these high time frame money flows are still very thick in the green and or, still increasing. Still getting higher, like this 8-hour, and even like this 4-hour, even though we do now have a divergence with momentum. I honestly, am not feeling super bearish quite yet. I think there is a good chance, though, that we just end up kind of ranging in this zone, like I said, and maybe then, things end up looking more bearish later. But I think there's still a good chance that we can come up for some of this resistance up here. I would kind of be surprised if we just start dumping from here and like we don't hold any support anywhere. I am kind of still expecting higher. And also, one last confluence for that low I was looking at. We have the macro value area low coming in right around that low. We were looking to SFP. If we zoom in here, that value area low is coming in right about here. So maybe we SFP the low and are able to hold now the macro value area low as support, because we have now gotten back inside of this value area low. I think if price comes back down and tests this value area low as support before getting a move higher, that would also be bullish. And going by value area rules, if we can maintain price inside of this value area, there's a good chance that our next stop is going to be up by the point of control. Maybe you could say this high volume node up here, since this is very close to the point of control in terms of volume. They're pretty similar. But either way, I think us holding support now inside of this value area low would be pretty bullish as well. And so if we saw like a high time frame SFP bouncing off that level, getting back above this wick, maybe like on the 4 hour or even on the 1 hour, depending on how quick we do it, that in my opinion would look pretty bullish, of course depending on the confirmations that we were seeing as well. And yeah, in the meantime, I am just looking for scalp trades. Right now we're literally in the middle of the range, so not where I would want to look for trades, but if we see a move back towards the highs or towards the lows of the range, I've got some plans made for those levels. Alright, well, I think that's about it for this one. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Really appreciate the support, and I will see you all in the next one.